When we last saw our intrepid bunch, they were facing the backside of one of many, one of the characters from Mask of the Betrayer, an epic campaign and, he's probably level 25 at least. You can talk to him, and he'll sort of explain a little bit about what he is. And he mentions the Master, who is the only being in Farron more terrible than us, which kind of implies that the Mask of the Betrayer campaign has already happened, and that the canonical ending is, in fact, the evil one. If you have evil characters in your party, you can feed cohorts to one of many for free XP and some permanent stat bonuses, which is nice, I guess, but we only have good characters in our party, so our only real option is either to leave him alone or fight him. So, we'll fight him. One of many isn't that dangerous when it comes to just killing you outright. He won't kill you that quickly. The problem is he has permanent concealment, a really high armor class, a fear aura, and all sorts of other defenses that makes it very hard to actually kill him. You can't just whittle him down over time and get lucky because of his regeneration, so you actually have to have a plan for dealing lots of damage very quickly. The first thing to deal with, though, is to get around his fear aura. We're going to do that with protection from evil, which gives immunity to mind spells from evil characters, which includes him. I had my mage memorize some rather different spells for this fight. You'll notice I have a lot of zeroed out spells at the bottom. Isaac's Lesser Missile Storm is going to be our sort of star player, because it does consistent damage and can't be avoided. Which more or less gets around the big problems with one of many. I've made 8 scrolls of Isaac's Lesser Missile Storm, half are sitting on the mage, half are sitting on the arcane archer. But we'll see if we can actually do some damage with our bows first. And I'm just going to cast my full sort of rondo of buffs. He will kind of keep his distance until you attack him. As long as no one decides to get aggressive, you should be fine. Alright, let's do this. I also stocked up on a lot of healer's kits, so I should not run out of healing during the fight. And we're making progress on him. Our buffs are going to start wearing off soon, though, so I don't want to get too overconfident. I'll just have her stack those up. And I'll start casting just basic attack spells. Are quite effective just from the standpoint of he can't dodge them. Though I will keep haste up. Now that he's starting to take damage and is pretty close to death, I'll start pummeling him with missile storms. And he goes down. As long as you have a plan and a way to get past his incredible defenses, he is not too hard. He doesn't do that enough damage to be really difficult. But do expect to use some supplies in fighting him, and if you don't have protection from fear, you may as well not try. He drops one item, which is this Imma Scarcana. It's okay, I guess. Mostly it's used for this gate ability, which is not super important. But, hey, it's better than nothing. The XP from the One of Many fight gave me enough to gain a level, which puts us at character level, 12? We'll have 6th level spells. There's some wild elves over here. Let's see what they want. Yeah, we're hunting. So, you could attack them, I guess, but it's kind of an evil thing to do. I see a will-o'-wisp down here, so I'm going to kill them and then use that fight as an opportunity to gain, to actually gain my levels off screen. So I'll see you back when we're done. We just go back to the lumber camp to get back to the Sword Coast. And hopefully they'll get us the right place this time. Wow, they actually did. So while you're on this out in Samarok, your caravans are not going. So even though I spent a lot of time on the map, I only got 440 trade bars. Now that we've set up our trading empire, I'm going to get rid of some of the basic stuff you can do at Crossroad Keep. You could have done this a long time ago, but I just haven't really had any reason to do it. The first thing to do is talk to Dared here. You might remember him from the first game as just a clueless adventurer. He's still a clueless adventurer, but now he has a whole school of clueless adventuring. And you can ask him why he's qualified, and he says, experience. Well, okay. The school is right here, and yeah, you can get teamwork feats here, and you can also pay to bring characters who are behind on levels up in levels. That you can essentially buy experience up to the highest level of the highest level character in your party. Candril here is the only creature parts merchant on the Sword Coast, so if you want to sell creature parts without losing lots of money, this is the place to sell them. We're also going to pick up a teamwork feat. Now, in this case, the one I'm going to pick up is called Missile Volley, which essentially gives attack bonuses to other people with missile weapons every time a character with a missile weapon hits. To get it, you need somebody who has weapon specialization in a ranged weapon. We have 2 people. Both Selic and Napro have weapon specialization in longbow. Everybody else in the party has to have point-blank shot. Now, if you look at my character builds, you'll notice that Azza does not have point-blank shot. But we do have an item which gives that benefit, which is Bracers of Archery. And so, for all of these teamwork feats, you don't actually have to authentically have the ability that the teamwork feat requires. You just have to have some way of getting it. This is especially useful for things like requires +1 charisma bonus. So if you have an 8 charisma, somebody just casts Eagle Splendor on you and you're good. So these teamwork feats are all quests. Well, most of them are quests. There's a couple of them you can just pick up for just showing up. And this particular one requires you to go to a ruined keep east of Thunder Tree. So we'll do that later. You can only have a few teamwork feats at any given time. I think it's 3. Most of them are pretty useless. Some of them have to do with the overworld map. Some of them have to do with resting. None of them are particularly excellent. Missile Volley is just, it's another hit bonus, and I qualify for it, so why not? Jairus here offers another quest, and it's basically just easy XP, so I'm going to do it. And so he came into a new house. Unfortunately, there's lots of explosives in the house, and he wants you to go disarm everything. This quest is basically just use rogue abilities. There's also some craft alchemy that's involved, but that's not particularly important. The major thing to do is not make sound, i.e. use stealth mode so that you move silently, or and there's a later part where you can use sleight of hand, but it's mostly move silently that you need. I've actually done this with a character that had no rogue skills by equipping items like Boots of Elvenkind and just casting a lot of spells that gave dex bonuses. You only need about 10 skill to do it. So we are just fine here. More or less in this room, you just don't move without having stealth active. And if you try to break down the door, it will also set it off. So you want to avoid doing that. And in my case, I'll just use the Chime of Opening. You could, if you had an actual rogue, you could just have them pick the lock. But I don't have enough skill points to get that skill. And there's so many other ways to get around locked doors that it's really not a worthwhile use of skill points. Now, this notebook and these purple and green vials allow you to do this quest more easily. I think you can theoretically do it without coming back here to that area, but, it's here. I have the skills to pick it up, and I think you have to have fairly high sleight of hand skill to pull that off. The chance that you'd have high sleight of hand and not move silently, fairly low. So in this case, we're just going to do it this way. And we get over here, and more or less it gives you a list of order in which you can do these things. So we went through the door on the far side there. We got a green and a purple vial, and we can use that to avoid the sleight of hand checks, which is good because we have no sleight of hand skill. And more or less, as long as you read the instructions, this is a fairly simple thing. We have neutralized the silver vials, so we can remove them. We can then remove the blue vials, and then we're done. And for about 2 minutes worth of work, you get a bag of holding and 1400 XP, which is pretty good. The next thing we're going to do is talk to this woman here, Faraba, who doesn't actually have any effect on the game, but what you do with her has an effect on the ending. You essentially can be generous or you can be spiteful, and I'm just going to be generous because we're good. There are more things to do in Crossroad Keep, so we'll cover them next time as we continue playing Storm of Zehir.